Anastasia Lavrina. Welcome to Inside Politics. Tonight, we focus on a groundbreaking development in the Eurasian energy landscape, as well as the strategic dynamics between Azerbaijan, Turkey, and the broader region. On March 5th, Presidents Ilham Aliyev of Azerbaijan and Recep Tayyip Erdogan of Turkey participated in the opening ceremony of the Iğdır-Nakhchivan gas pipeline, which will play a pivotal role in reshaping the energy map of Eurasia. This is not just an energy project, but a reflection of deeper geopolitical cooperation. The new pipeline will transport natural gas from Azerbaijan via Turkish territory to Nakhchivan Autonomous Republic, fulfilling the region's energy needs. President of Azerbaijan also highlighted the significance of the Baku-Tbilisi-Kars railway, a key transportation route connecting Turkey and Azerbaijan, which is set to benefit not only both nations, but the wider Turkic world. We'll dive into all of this and more alongside the broader implications for regional security, energy and geopolitics. To discuss these issues, we are joined by three esteemed guests. Özgür Güven, Sustainability and Energy Expert from Turkey. Kostis Geropoulos, Director of Energy, Climate Policy and Security at ENI Global Media from Greece. And Osama Rizvi, an Energy and Economic Analyst at Primary Vision from Pakistan. Dear experts, warm welcome to our talk. And Mr. Özgür, let me start with you. On March 5th, Turkey and Azerbaijan celebrated the opening of the Iğdır-Nakhchivan gas pipeline. How do you view this project, and what does it mean for two countries' role in regional energy security?
Thank you for giving us this opportunity to talk about it. First and most, I think this is a very important step in terms of contributing to the regional and global energy security. I mean, this is first to assure the region, providing the region natural gas. That's the first most. But second of all, Azerbaijan, thanks to Azerbaijan, I believe we wouldn't be able to do it as Turkey on its own. I think this is a good contribution to the globally, regionally and globally, to the global energy security. This is a good step.
Well, indeed, that's a good step forward, which will definitely bring two nations even closer to each other. Kostis, as the Director of Energy, Climate Policy and Security, you have a unique perspective on the energy implications of such projects. How do you see the expansion of Azerbaijan's natural gas exports to Turkey and to Nakhchivan affecting the broader regional energy landscape?
Well, I think it's a very important first step, and it would provide gas to the enclave, and initially, but then also there's a possibility of expanding and transporting additional gas from the Caspian to Europe through. Possibly by expanding the TANAP pipeline and also the Baku-Tbilisi-Erzurum pipeline. That would bring, definitely, as you mentioned, it will expand the gas to Europe, and it will increase European energy security. So regionally, it's also very important because, as you know, on the 4th of April, there's going to be the South Gas Corridor Ministerial Council and also the Green Energy Ministerial Council in Baku. And additionally, also, this is also, they're going to be discussing bringing natural gas from the Caspian to Turkey and then on to Europe, which is very important for European energy security.
That's very interesting. Osama, turning to you, as an energy and economic analyst, how do you view the economic impact of these developments, not just on Azerbaijan and Turkey, but on the wider region, including Europe and Central Asia?
Well, as the other esteemed guests said, I agree that this is a very important step. What we need to view is that the very backdrop, the background, the global energy backdrop against which this is happening At the moment, there are lots of geopolitical conflicts as well. The global energy flows are also changing. And during that, we can see that this region, specifically Turkey, seems to be becoming the center of Eurasian energy dynamics, which will have long-term positive implications across the world. It will not only increase Azerbaijan's, for instance, oil and gas revenues or Turkey's income as a transit country, but also help connect the Central Asian energy resources to the international grid. And as you said in the introduction, it will have a lot of implications, positive implications for European energy security too.
Mr. Özgür, there is also a strategic aspect to these developments. Beyond energy, President Aliyev emphasized the importance of the Baku-Tbilisi-Kars railway in uniting the Turkic world. How do you see this railway impacting the political and economic cohesion of the organization of Turkic states?
Well, to be honest, I think there are the most happy countries in this deal. This is Azerbaijan and Turkey, and hopefully our neighboring countries will also benefit from this in the maybe in the mid-run, not in the short term, maybe, but in the mid-term. And strategically, yes, there is. There is the initiative from all the way from China to Europe, like the Silk Road initiative. And I believe Azerbaijan and Turkey stepped in for this initiative, the bold steps, I think, in my own word. And in future, hopefully, the neighboring states for Azerbaijan and Turkey will join economically to be a part of this, and then they will benefit from this. But it was a very bold step, as I just repeat myself. Both Aliyev and Erdogan, thanks to their visionary, they really changed, I think, the scheme of, especially politically, the logistic scheme in the region.
Kostas, your opinion also, as we already mentioned, two presidents are discussing not only energy cooperation, but also the strategic partnership in many other aspects of partnership, including security, let's say, and the transport links. And please correct me if I'm wrong, but I do think the middle corridor is also in the interest of the European countries. So coming back to what I have already mentioned, Baku-Tbilisi-Kars railway, that's an important part of the Turkic world, but also it has an element of significance for Europe as well.
Absolutely, and actually the middle corridor is very important for goods from China and Asia to Europe, and it's also from Kazakhstan, through Azerbaijan, through Turkey, and also from across the Black Sea. So there's a lot of potential for cooperation in that region. Also, don't forget that at the end of May, there's the Astana International Forum, where I expect that leaders from Azerbaijan and Turkey are going to be there as well, like 2 years ago. And energy and transport and climate are going to be key parts of the Astana International Forum, and as well, they're going to also going to be discussing the middle corridor. And I think in the last 2 years, we've seen a lot of movement, especially in the current geopolitical situation. We've seen, of course, this is changing daily, and we're seeing that, nobody knows exactly what the situation is going to be with Ukraine and about in a few months from now. But definitely, I think that the direction is now about diversification, and it's definitely that the middle corridor is going to be another option for transporting goods, and it's already in motion. So I think that the Azerbaijani president's visit to Turkey was a step on that direction, and I'm definitely thinking that that they strengthening the relationship of Turkey with Azerbaijan, which is a major player in the corridor, is very important.
Osama, indeed, that's very interesting. probably you also could observe it, talking about strengthening or fostering energy cooperation between the countries, not only between Azerbaijan and Turkey or among many other states in the world. The sides try to speak in parallel about the importance of development. The transport links and security issues are on the agenda. Taking into account your experience in a global energy oil market, how do you see the changes it's happening there, and where do you see the future role Azerbaijan and Turkey could stand together?
In terms of the energy security, essentially, we have already seen how closely it is linked to energy flows. And take the case of Pakistan, for example, and the China-Pakistan economic corridor. We have had a few issues in that regard, and the project has suffered delays. This speaks about the importance of stability amongst the region from which these energy projects flow. I've also mentioned that how this relates to European energy security, because recently, because of the nature of events, geopolitical events, Europe has faced some problems in terms of securing gas with Azerbaijan, Turkey, and the whole Central Asian region, I believe, because it stands to have a very important role in the upcoming energy order. This will provide optionality for European gas consumers, which would do two things. First, it would reduce down the volatility, and related to this is it will stabilize the energy prices. I am also thinking, conjecturing, at some point we might see another gas benchmark being made that would come from Central Asia, but of course that is a long-term thinking. But so far, right now, I believe this carries greater implications for region and beyond as well, specifically in terms of energy security.
Mr. Özgür, your vision of the security map in the region as well, it's quite often being referred that if the countries are fostering energy or trade relations, it will definitely benefit the security. But our region itself cannot be described as very, very peaceful from the global perspective. In comparison, yes, but taking into account of what's happened before, post-conflict reality, and etc. So fostering trade and energy relations, what kind of security implications it may have? How will it affect the future coordinations between the regional powers and countries?
60% of the natural gas reserves are in our region. And if we can use it in terms of soft power, we should utilize more trade. We should utilize more economical relations with all the nations around us and globally. And Azerbaijan and Turkey will definitely benefit from it in terms of peace in the region. Yes, there are external powers, there are countries overseas who are affecting the peace process over here as we speak. But I do believe both Turkey and Azerbaijan, through their leadership, both Erdogan and Aliyev, will be bold figures both in the upcoming years. We will all see it together.
Kostis, I would like you to tell us more in details about European energy security and perspectives. How significant this cooperation, this agreement between two countries, Azerbaijan and Turkey, for Europe's energy diversification strategy, particularly in light of recent geopolitical shifts and energy supply disruptions?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, it's exposed into the general framework of cooperation, and Turkey and Azerbaijan are key players in energy security. It's not it's something that's been planned for a long time, and through the South Gas Corridor to Greece and on to Italy, and then the expansion of the Southern Gas Corridor. And especially now we're seeing that Europe is very dependent on, is trying to cut its dependence on Russia, and the only gas that's coming to Europe is through Turk Stream at the time. So Turkey is definitely an important player in that. And also in terms of Russian gas coming from Turkey. But now with the diversification and natural gas from the Caspian, and Azerbaijan is becoming a key player. We've seen also that in Greece, for example, that we're going to have an additional LNG terminal from Revithousa, which is in Athens. We're going to have one in closer to Alexandroupolis in northern Greece. And that also creates more possibilities for the gas that's coming in from the Caspian through Turkey to be liquefied and transported anywhere in the region. It's all in the global perspective. Additional volumes coming in are going to be very important regardless, because as we've seen, all countries now are looking for additional supplies, and Caspian can be a key source for gas, as well as of course from the Middle East and Qatar and so on and so forth. But it's a global market, and I think that we've seen in Greece, for example, energy prices have been spiking recently, it's also a big issue in the Balkans. I'm actually going to, in the beginning of April, around the same time, at the Black Sea Energy Week in Romania. And, it is also an important role, because, you can have electricity or, cables coming through the Black Sea to Europe. This would be renewable energy from Azerbaijan. And, as well as, natural gas from Turkey as well. So it's all I think, in Europe's interest to have more sources of gas and electricity. And gradually, a lot of gas could be also hydrogen as well. It could be, there's huge potential for clean energy in the Caspian. And that's why the Clean Energy Council in the beginning of March in Baku is going to be discussing that possibility as well.
Indeed, there are a lot of opportunities to increase the level of cooperation in the green energy sector, especially after COP29. Huge amount of participants who came to Baku to discuss the future of green energy and green transition. So, Osama, from an economic standpoint, how significant is this energy collaboration in terms of transforming Eurasia's energy infrastructure? Could this shift open up new opportunities for energy trade routes and economic partnerships within the region and far beyond?
I would like to mention that the Prime Minister of Pakistan actually recently visited Azerbaijan as well, and a lot of discussion surrounded energy projects. So countries like Pakistan and India now is also becoming a very important player when it comes to energy imports, importing over 90% of its oil needs. This, together with the potential of clean energy that we were just discussing, solar, wind, and otherwise, along with that, I would also like to mention that Central Asia is also a hub of the rare earth elements, the 1718 minerals that make up the backbone of the modern economy. So in that regard, the economic potential is huge. But as the other guests discussed, security issues along with diplomatic legal problems might emerge as we move forward, but nothing that cannot be resolved. I see that the moving forward in the world, Central Asia as a region is expected to play a big role. And in terms of economic opportunities, they have Pakistan, they have India, and growing populations. So yeah, the potential is huge. We just need to tap into it. I believe one thing that the governments of this region do is more people-to-people exchange. I see that there is a little bit of room there, and maybe in the near future this can happen as well.
So, Mr. Özgür, do you believe that the expanding capacity of TANAP and Baku-Tbilisi-Erzurum pipelines can also significantly alter Europe's reliance on Russian energy, or will it remain one part of a diversified energy strategy for the EU?
Now, I can start with our dear neighbor from Greece, that this diversification, first and foremost, will help to our relationship between Greece and Turkey. Energy transition is a good resource for soft power, and I believe Caspian natural gas, Caspian oil through Azerbaijan and Turkey, and maybe through Greece, Why not, right? It's a good initiative. Europe will definitely benefit from this. Yes, Russia is a good resource for natural reserves for.
Kostis, as energy flows between Azerbaijan, Turkey and Europe increase, how do you think this cooperation might inspire further energy investments or infrastructure developments across Central Asia and the South Caucasus?
I think that definitely, as I mentioned earlier, with the clean energy, I think the potential now, I think even with a TAP pipeline that goes through Greece and through to Italy, I mean, the potential is to also carry green hydrogen in the future. So I think those projects are not just designed for natural gas, but they're having, and initially, I mean, there's going to be an expansion, doubling the capacity through compressors. But in the future is also the possibility, and they already discussed this during the Athens Energy Summit here too. And I'm pretty sure they're going to discuss it at the Baku Energy Week in the beginning of June as well, about the possibility of transporting clean energy, mostly green hydrogen through the pipeline. But there's also a lot of potential of projects as well that are going to be discussed. I think that the future and that with the energy crisis with the war, the Russian-Ukrainian war happened, is that it basically was a wake-up call for Europe to have more. To diversify its sources. So I think that this is something that's been discussed for a long time. But we've seen that even, for example, luckily Southern Europe is in a better shape than Northern Europe. Because the projects are still existing, like through Blue Stream, and there are more new projects happening. Like with the expansion of the Southern Gas Corridor. But the talk is now through interconnectors, and Europe is very much ahead of the game in this. It's connecting, especially through the Balkans. I mean, we have the Greece-Bulgaria interconnector. They're building across Serbia as well now, also in Romania. And the plan is to supply gas to Central Europe as well, which has a lot of problems. And we know we've seen, like, as of the beginning of the year, the Ukrainian transits have stopped. Nord Stream, there is some discussion now, but it's almost like in the sci-fi region. I mean, I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but it's very difficult with the EU regulation, even if there's a rapprochement between the US and Russia. I mean, it's not a bad idea to use some of the pipeline to have some gas coming through, but nevertheless, I mean, the Caspian region is going to play a very important role.
Indeed. And so my last question, Osama, looking at this from an economic and regional trade perspectives, how do you think the increased natural gas flow from Azerbaijan to Europe via Turkey will impact the wider region, especially in terms of energy prices?
Well, right now, as things stand, European gas have started to go down. That's why we have seen that the natural gas prices are inching up. Some are even talking about the possibility of $6. However, with these projects going on, such volatility, such price swings will reduce. Moving forward, I also believe that Europe will find it easier to fill up their inventories that they usually do in the next coming months. That would further put down the pressure on the global gas prices, which should help economically, which should help countries in the global south, such as Pakistan, such as other countries that import a lot of gas in order to create electricity. Right now, the countries of the global south are suffering from an acute cost of living crisis, and within that, the major contributing factor are the energy prices. And when these projects are online, when this energy flows are flowing, I believe it will bode well for the general public, for the common man as well, hailing from these countries.
Well, indeed, dear expert, thank you so much for joining our discussion today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just to
Thank you.
remind, today with us we had Özgür Güven, sustainability and energy expert who joined from Turkey, Kostis Giropoulos, Director of Energy, Climate Policy and Security at ANE Global Media from Greece, and Osama Rizvi, an energy and economic analyst at Primary Vision from Pakistan. Dear viewers, do stay with A News and see you soon.